Well, I used to keep my money in a cookie jar. It was shaped like a cat, it was a present from my brother. I read a lot of books, but I couldn't see between the lines. I'll have another cup of coffee if you don't mind.
Seem to change. I'm glad to hear that you're doing all right. I dreamt I slept in your bed last night. Hey, we're open.
Hello, we're here, Mr. Sanchez. We were just
We're
listening.
here.
You know, I enjoyed just kind of checking you out and listening for a few minutes. You know, it's kind of fun. Hey, we got our first good morning of the day. Yeah, guys, it's fun. I didn't look at this chat the other day when we couldn't get up, and very fun. You guys are funny guys. You guys are way fun.
I'd prefer it if you said you couldn't get it up.
No, it was.
Not we.
Yeah, you know, that sounds way dirtier than I meant it to sound too. You know,
And I want it out. I didn't want any part of it.
Yes. So, but we're here today. I blame my buddy Chopper's old ass computer, but it could be me. I don't know. Who knows? You know.
You know, it was ironical that the thing that held us back, we had a picture, we had the hookup, we didn't have sound,
Right.
and we had two of the best sound engineers New Orleans has ever produced, you and Chopper. It was perfect, really. For me, I was just
Dude.
like, there's karma, man.
That
we got
old
everything
story
for
of
sound,
yours.
and these are the two best sound guys I ever worked with.
That old story of yours. If that red light ain't on, it ain't gonna work. I just kind
Like
of
what
kept.
it came down to. That's what it came down to.
It was like we tried everything to get his audio working, and the funny part was that me and Paul at some point were like, well, I guess we're gonna have to do this one without you, and we'll figure it out for the next one. The Chopper was just like, nah, I'll hang out.
He hung out for an hour, man.
Yes.
You know,
He was
it
willing to
truly
keep
was
going.
like the story you're referring to was Cowboy Mouth playing the Centenary Oyster House in Shreveport, which held about 150 people legally, and we would get about 300 people in there, you know. And we go to play the first song, and the PA goes out. So we run backstage to see what's going on. Now, this wasn't a good PA. It was like PV speakers and a PV rig. It was just, you know, it wasn't top of the line Bose stuff. And we go backstage, and I say to the sound man, "Hey man, what's going on?" He says, "Well, I turn that switch, and if that red light don't come on, it ain't gonna work." What? He said, "I flipped the switch off and on, and the red light never did come on, off and on. If that red light don't come on, it ain't gonna work." And Fred, who had just come running back there full of fury and spit, grabbed the guy by the collar and sprayed him in the face with spit and venom, going, "Then get one that fucking works." And the guy's eyes got big, you know, and he went in the truck and dug out some old piece of shit head that worked, and we managed to pull the show off.
Oh man. So me and Paul were kind of talking a little bit. Yeah, that's right, Lorelei. You don't want me to be as dirty as I want, though. You know, that's probably not a good.
Mike
idea.
being as dirty as he can be? No, we don't. None of it. Not even me as one of his best friends is prepared for that.
So we were talking this morning, though, right? Here we are, Lollapalooza, first music festival of the season.
Man, I saw the news in Chicago, and I don't know, man. I know people are frustrated. I'm frustrated. I'm broke. I need to get back to work myself. All my musician friends need to get back to work, and the people are hungry for music. I get it all. But this is history, unprecedented history. It's a virus that has mutated more quickly than any virus I've seen in my lifetime, so that they keep chasing it, trying to treat it. Now, I saw the news report on Chicago this morning, 100,000 people a day going to this festival. And they compared it with a Dutch music festival that just happened last weekend that held 20,000 people. Of the 20,000 people who attended last weekend, 1,000 are COVID positive today, and who knows how many more. So exponentially, if you got 100,000, you're looking at maybe 10,000 people contracting COVID at these events. I'm not happy about the prospect of canceling music festivals, especially, you know, our own. But people are fucking stupid. And I don't mean to be negative, but there was a comedian I saw, I can't remember, Michelle somebody, I gotta look up her name because she's funny as hell. And she goes, you know, when I was in high school, if you didn't believe in science, it was called failing.
Right.
You know? And now I see people go, well, I don't know if it's right for me, as if it were a car or your shirt, you know?
Right.
I don't know if a vaccine's right for me. I think I'd rather, you know, wear a Hawaiian shirt than get a vaccine.
It's
what?
I don't.
And the people that say, why are you wearing a mask? I don't know. Why are you wearing a shirt? I don't like your shirt any more than you like the mask. What a hideous shirt you got. You're way too fat for that fucking shirt.
Well, you know, I was almost doing Lollapalooza. We were in the running.
They canceled you?
They canceled us, and they did it. It took them so long to find sponsors that I think it was just a few weeks out that we wound up getting canceled. And the reason they did it was because they just decided to keep it. There's a local company there that we were competing with, so they went with the local company, just trying to keep things kind of down. But
it's not going to change anything.
No. And
put 100,000 people together, and you're going to have some disease coming out of it.
I've had calls about so far that there was Lollapalooza. There's 3 other ones that I want to mention, and of the 3 other ones, I wound up picking up one of them. So far that one that I picked up is supposed to happen at the end of September, and we'll see what happens. But I think if Lollapalooza gets the kind of spreading that is potentially possible there, what are they going to do, guys? They're going to cancel it, right? I mean, they're going to have to start canceling things. I think Jazz Fest will be over at that point.
It would take a miracle at this point because vaccination rate is so low, and the same people who are saying it's my body, my choice, are the people who are pro-abortion.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So we're not talking about intelligent, thoughtful people here. We're talking about people who believe in their own rightness, no matter what the cost, no matter what the facts. I'm right because I say so. Mm-hmm. And those kind of people are going to kill their family members and friends of their family, and their arrogance, their hubris is born of our former president, whose name I refuse to say. But it's a hubris and an arrogance that's going to kill more people. I mean, the former president killed 500,000 Americans by calling it a hoax, by saying don't get vaccinated, by saying drink bleach, all this nonsense. He killed 500,000 plus Americans. And as I've said before, he did his job for Putin beautifully. You know, if Putin killed 500,000 Americans without firing a shot, I'd say Donald Trump is a great asset.
Well, before we get too deep into our previous administration, I saw that they were going to try to start offering people $100. Biden's pushing states to try to offer people $100 to get vaccinated.
Wait a minute now. Louisiana's offering the shot lottery. I signed up for that sucker, man.
Did
I win
you?
$1 million for getting my vaccination. I'm never going in public again. Not to sting, not to socialize. I'm going to be home, vaccinated and safe with $1 million.
No, wait a second. If you've already gotten vaccinated, you can enter this lottery. It's not for people who haven't been vaccinated yet?
It was my understanding that if you've been vaccinated, you can enter.
Entry. All right. Well, I'm fucking doing it too. Jesus Christ. I got to figure out how to do that. Yeah, I'm with you.
If I win $1 million, I'll split it with you, Mikey.
I think that's a good. I'll do the same. How about that? We'll shake on it.
I like it. All right. Shake on it. Our wives would kick us both in the ass for that.
Yes. Like, you did what? You shook on it? I'm like, it's public. I don't even know.
It was a virtual shake. It didn't count, honey.
So Paul and I, not in an attempt to drain you people, but we are going to start a goddamn Patreon, and for anybody who knows how it works, basically, if you go and subscribe, we will, we'll continue to do the show for a while. You know, if we get enough subscribers where it makes sense.
Well, I have some friends who do Patreon, so I'll see what the little extras are. You know, now that I have my singing voice back, maybe I could send people songs, you know, and whatever. We'll think of some fun things. I've been hearing about this Patreon thing for a while now, and You and I
Generally,
really just
you give away weekly. Basically, the Patreon people might get backstage stuff. Maybe if you're doing maybe you just sitting on the piano playing a song for them, they can request at certain tiers. They can request for different things from us and whatever like that. Go through and look and check out some of the things that people offer.
No, I like it. I've seen Luke Winslow King has a Patreon. He does very with it, very well with it. And I think also Dana Kurtz, who's a fantastic performer and songwriter and singer. And I think I saw her mention on her Facebook page that was one of the things helping keeping her paying her bills.
I want to roll in the stuff we want to do video wise. I'd like to roll some of that stuff in because me and Paul have a bunch of cool ideas to create little scenes. Unlike the Mars scene where we actually work together, and we're talking about actually creating some of these old stories of his and actually creating little scenes out of them that we'll film and have fun doing. But we need to have a little bit of funding to pull these kind of things off because it's not just, if we could do it by ourselves, it's one thing, but we're gonna have to have some help, and asking people for favors only goes so far.
I was doing really well with my budgeting until I got hit by like $3,000 in medical bills last month, trying to find out. And the irony of it was I paid about $3,000 in medical bills trying to find out what's wrong, only to be turned down by my insurance company for the treatment that they said would help me, the Botox injections in the neck. And then I find a voice teacher who teaches people with dystonia, and it's costing me so much less than it would have if I had not gone to the doctors. But look, it's been 3 years.
You live and learn.
Well, it's been 3 years of not being able to talk and not being able to sing, and I was desperate for anything, man. I was pretty trying not to show how depressed I was about not being able to sing and perform, but that's who I've been for all my life, and I'd sort of like it back.
And you're a goddamn storyteller. If you can't tell stories, that's like chopping off one of your hands. It's
actually, in my case, since my guitar playing is so average, it's probably worse than chopping off one of my hands.
Oh, by the way, we did. I guess it's okay, Freddie, to say that we finally edited some of that video and stuff, and the guys look great and stuff. And I think
I love Freddie Blue. Mike is talking about. We did a live video shoot for Freddie Blue to promote his new record, and he texted me and said, "Would you come and be in Foot of Canal Street?" And I said, "Sure." And I've made a lot of videos in my life, so I thought he meant come and pretend to sing and play on Foot of Canal Street for the video. And then he texts me back and says, "What kind of amp would you like?" And I'm thinking, like, why would I need an amp if we're just faking?
Right.
And then I text him back and he says, no, we're doing it live. I'm like, oh, wow. Well, I haven't sung in like 2 years, so I can't promise that I'll be able to sing. I'll come and play if that's okay. He says, that'll be fine. Maybe your voice will work, blah, blah. So I show up late, so I'm already riddled with anxiety because I've gotten there late and everybody's on stage all set up. And I don't want to be like coming in like the fucking superstar making his band wait. I want to be one of the guys, So I get there late and I'm already anxiety riddled. And Freddie walks over to me and he hands me a piece of paper and goes, "Here's the set." I said, humming. Set? I thought we were doing Foot of Canal Street.
Right.
Like, a heads up would have been cool, man. And he goes, "Oh, it's just rock and roll. You can sit in." And I was like, I guess. I've never heard some of the songs you played before. Maybe, I don't know. And he goes to start a song, and I turned to the band, and I said, "Would anybody be kind enough to give me a key on this one?"
Right. I mean, look, I'm walking around with the camera. By the way, I'm sorry. The things that... So I'm going through the video footage, and what I realize is I wasn't monitoring the video footage while we're playing because I'm walking around with a handheld. Not only that, I got the goddamn Pro Tools recording in the other room that I have to keep an eye on. So I'm running all around just trying to keep everything on the tracks. Well, let's start looking at the footage, and the video camera's doing this with the drums.
No.
Yes.
Oh my God.
It turned out to look kind of cool, like because it's to the beat, right? At least it's to the beat. But it's not, and it's not all the angles, but some of the angles are definitely, doing this little number there. And so I'm like, well, let me see if I can stabilize it any. But there's motion blur, so when I stabilize it, all you see is this smear happen. It's even funnier looking, right? All of a sudden it just smears and then unsmears, smears and unsmears. Anyway, I think it works out. It's kind of cool, but that's what happens when nobody has money and you have one guy trying to do it all. It just, What you gonna do?
Hey,
Shit
Turk, you did a
happens.
great job. The videos looked great and they sounded great.
I think they're fine, but if you look close, you'll see some of the angles. It's like, oh, look at that, it's jumping. Did he mean to do that? No, but at that point you lean into it, right? I was like, if it's doing it, fuck it. We might as well accentuate it.
You know, I was pleased with the guitar parts I came up with on the spot.
They were great.
'Cause
Yeah.
Don Rankin, my teacher, he had always told me, like, just when you're sitting in with somebody, they all know what they're doing. So let them do it. Listen and find a part nobody else is playing, and then you play that. So I took his advice, and that's what I did.
Yes, we love you too. Thanks for coming and hanging out with us here in the mornings.
Was that Barbara?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, Debbie's mom. Great singer, great vocal teacher.
By the way, we're gonna have Debbie on again soon. I think we got our people that were guests. We got to bring Chopper back still, and I got my friend Kathy from grade school who sang on the song with me. We covered Jim's Lakeside together.
I did an interview 2 days ago for the Threadheads with John Boutte, and I'd like to get him to come on.
I'd love to get John on if you can get him.
He is one of the most unique people I ever met in my life. He has one of the most unique ways of expressing himself. Like typical John story. Right after the flood, I was living above Fifi Mahoney's wig shop, balcony of Fifi Mahoney's. It was great. And every morning, like 7:30, John would come by on his bike. He'd do this little whistle I knew, special little whistle. And I'd come out and peek down. He'd go, come on, baby, let's go ride. So I'd come down, jump on my bike, and we'd go riding through the French Quarter. Now it was right after Katrina, so it was pretty empty. But there were a few people there, people that really loved it, and the quarter hadn't flooded. So we'd be riding. And literally every block, somebody would call out, hey, John Boutte. And he'd pull over and he'd talk to him for like 10 minutes, and another block, hey, John Boutte. And he pulls over, and there we are talking to him for another minute. And then about the third block, somebody calls out, hey, Paul Sanchez. And I went, hey, good to see you, and kept rolling. And John starts cracking up. I said, what's up, baby? He goes, that's what I love about you, baby. You ain't afraid to tell a motherfucker to fuck off.
And you're like, I didn't say fuck off. He's yes, you did.
And in my mind, like, I was being polite. I'm acknowledging you. I'm saying, hey, have a good day. I'm not going to stop my bike ride. But then John's, that's how polite he is. He's going to stop and talk to people.
That's what I love about you, baby. You ain't afraid to tell him to fuck off.
Well, he is true there. It wasn't true about that particular instance. But throughout my career, I can honestly say I wasn't afraid to tell people to fuck off.
No, apparently. And that's why we're both sitting here in our whatever room you're in, and I'm in my little room, talking to people over the phone, basically.
When we were on MCA Records, they came to New York to take us to a dinner. And the VP, who I won't name, that was got the shuttle bus for us, my manager at the time of Cowboy Mouth said, don't bring your wife tonight. And my ex used to go everywhere with me, at her insistence. And I said, why not? And he said, well, the VP has a reputation of trying to sleep with band members' wives, and I know if he did, you'd punch him in the face. And I said, well, you're absolutely right, I would have. So I'll tell her to stay home. And I told her, and she was fine to skip it. And I get to the bus, and he shakes my hand, he says, first thing he says, where's your wife? And I said, separation of church and state. And he didn't know what to do with that. In hindsight, I maybe should have brought her and let her sleep with him and been a richer rock star so that she could have gotten more money from me when she divorced me.
Yeah. Well, it just would have depended on if it was. Let's don't even go there. Never mind. Suddenly, I'm like, hey, this is one of those paths you don't want to take.
Well, I should have stopped that path a few steps ago, but it was too late.
It was too late. So, I'm glad you guys missed us. Sometimes you have to skip a couple shows so that people realize what they're missing, I mean, Mark's like, man, it's been a long week without the ACOC chuckles, and, I agree.
Well, you have to have a little wit amidst all of this madness that's going on around us. Uh-oh.
It's okay. Somebody was calling in, and apparently, why do iPhones I set this thing 1,000 times, but now it's decided that when I get phone calls, it's going to, go again. So whatever.
I am so confused by the iPhones and the different services I've signed up for that when I get my next residual check from Your Honor, it should be a decent size sum of money. I'm going to actually start a new bank account at a different bank, close out my account with Chase, just so I can get notices of what services I'm losing because I'm not paying anymore.
Right.
And I'll guarantee you there's going to be like at least 6 services I don't even know I have that I'm paying, $12, $22 a month for. I don't know.
Right. And you'd be like, oh, look at that. I do have HBO Max. Okay, maybe you can help me out getting signed up for this. So, yeah, all right, we will do the Patreon, you and I, over the weekend. We'll kind of figure out what we're going to, what we're going to offer and things like that.
That may take a sit-down meeting. It may take getting together.
Yeah, I'm down with that. Let's do that. Let's get together and sit down, go through it, and we'll try to have something up by next week. And, we'll see if we can't figure out a way to you see, I know we're not getting the kind of necessarily numbers that, some of those bigger ones get, but, here's the thing. That's what I was going to tell you. So the guy who started Patreon is actually from a band called Pomplamoose, guys. Pomplamoose. Anyway, he was at the time, him and his band, and by the way, they have some really great song covers and stuff that they do with really clever videos. And anyway, he was like talking about he'd get 1 million views and get $160 from YouTube, with basically 2 million minutes of watch time, and it's like worth $160. So that's why he started Patreon. He's like, this doesn't add up, right? This doesn't really.
Good. I'll be excited to be a part of it. I've heard a lot about it.
Yeah, and they're definitely into taking care of. Oh, good. Mark knows about Pomplamoose. Sorry, they are fantastic, aren't they? It's something worth you guys checking out. I'll try to put it in the description later today. I got a busy day. I've been busy, but I'll try to put it in that description and more people can check it out because it's pretty awesome. They have
I'm old, and when somebody says, "Have you checked out this guy?" I say, "Have they checked me out?" If they check me out, I'll check them out.
Yeah, there you go. To be honest,
quid pro quo, Clarice.
Right. Let's do each other.
Let's do each other, man.
Oh, don't we have some pictures to show? I forgot. We have some pictures.
Yes, I sent them to you. Do you have them?
I do.
With descriptions.
Oh, I didn't get the descriptions, or at least.
I have the descriptions. I put a description with each one. What do you mean you didn't get the descriptions?
Well, I mean, I didn't look that closely. I just saved I've been busy. Like I said, I just saved the images. And
that's a good question, Amy. Would we do a living room show outside for a small group of people? I think I'm still okay outdoors, if it's a small group of people and they're far away.
Well, you're not going to go to the hospital, right? You're vaccinated, so you may.
I've asked Amy about the price of the coffee cups because I want one, but I don't want her to give them to us. She went through the trouble of getting them made.
Right.
I'd like to, buy a cup from her, and then we can show it to the people that tune in, and maybe they'll want to buy a cup from her, and whatever.
Yeah. I'm definitely. I think at some point, Amy, that maybe we should do, sell them for $10, and you take, half of whatever we make out of them for your time, and because she's dealing with them, and we'll take a couple bucks or something. Apparently, they must cost about $5. So she's giving you guys at cost. It's not the way this works, Amy. Merchandise, you got to mark it up. Dang it. Right?
Well, you do. You got to cover your postal costs, and you got to cover your time. And
I think she's got the postal. I mean, she's a smart cookie. She probably has postal stuff
figured out. She's a very smart cookie.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, but Amy, don't be afraid to gouge our listeners.
Or us.
Or us.
Start pick up, man.
Absolutely. Charge us for your time. Make it worth your while so you're not going, my God, what am I doing?
I'm pretty broke, but I have enough to afford a $5 cup.
Sean, I'm just starting to, find this Jack Conte guy. A buddy of mine turned me on to him, so I'm going to dig a little deeper. I've read some of his talks, though, where he does this whole talk about, before he started Patreon and Pomplamoose, all the things that he did that didn't pay off and didn't do anything, and how that's most of life. We tried things and didn't take off, and then eventually you hit one and it takes off. And he says it still keeps going from then, because once you get something that takes off, now when you put out a video and nobody's into it, then you're like, oh my God, am I past my prime? Did I, have I?
Well, I see. I don't have to ask that question. I'm definitely past my prime.
You passed my prime.
I'm definitely past my prime. Understand that?
I know you're kidding and everything, but you're reinventing yourself again by playing piano because you grow, and when you grow, I think it's a good thing, man.
Yeah, we'll see. Like I said, I have that dream where I'm playing piano and Josh Paxton and David Torkanowski and Oscar Rossignoli are all standing around having drinks and laughing and pointing at me, and I'm naked and I'm trying to play and I'm just laughing, and then I wake up and find that they're really all laughing at me for my piano.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, they would have been laughing at you anyway. So
Oh, I'm almost certain Josh Paxton and Dave Torkanowski have been laughing at me for years.
Yes.
Oscars is so nice. He's never laughed at me.
And he's a nicer fellow. So
He barely noticed my piano playing when I played in front of him.
Right. He's like, oh, is that called playing?
In fact, I've played in front of a handful of people thus far, and I could say of all of them, Oscar was singularly unimpressed with my piano playing.
Well, the thing you have to realize is you're not really playing piano. You're playing songs, right?
Right.
And
I
so,
don't have any illusions about it. I don't.
Yeah.
I have less of a desire to solo on piano than I did to solo on guitar,
which took you years, 20 years before you even started trying.
and only because Alex made me. I'm going to be completely honest. I wasn't fucking. I wanted to know how to sit in with people, but I didn't want to know how to be a master soloist. There's plenty of them in the world, and to be quite honest with you, I like a nice short 8-bar solo. I don't want a fucking solo that lasts for 20 minutes. So
no widespread panic. No widespread panic.
No. So after a few months of lessons with Rankin, I'd turn to Alex and go, like, give him the solo, give him the nod, you know, and he'd nod back like, no, you take it. I'd nod back like, no, you take it. And then there's a solo, and if I don't take it, it's not getting took. And at first I stunk, and I got better at it to where John Rankin, my teacher, was like, you did really great. What you did up there, I didn't teach you. And Alex got more comfortable with giving me solos. But it's nothing I aspire to. I like songs. I like singing songs. I like other people singing songs I wrote. Those are the things that thrill me. A really blazing solo that lasts a half hour and gets the crowd up when they're really drunk in Tipitinas. Good for you. Right. I'll be home and sleep by then, but good for you.
Right. And look, I feel the same. I mean, watching somebody who's great and listening to somebody who's really great is a wonderful thing, but that's not what, you're doing, right? You're just taking your songs in a new direction. You're a songwriter.
I don't consider myself an instrumentalist. I consider myself a songwriter.
Exactly. So guess what? They can laugh, whatever. If you can get through your song and give it a different fucking feel or whatever like that, fuck them if they can't take a joke. Sorry.
Or joke them if they can't take a fuck. Well, you know what they're really mad at? They're not even... Here's what's going on. They're not laughing at you. They're going, fuck, I'm out of a gig. That's what they're saying. Oh, yeah. I see now that sweat droplets are forming on each of their heads at the thought of Paul Sanchez stealing their gigs.
Yeah. No. What I'm saying is they're out of a gig with you. They're like, fuck, I used to come and play keyboards with him. Now he's playing keyboards. Now he's going to hire a guitar player. God damn it.
I never did hire Josh for anything, but I have hired Torkanowski and Oscar in the past.
Yeah, I know. So they just look at him and go, oh, great. Now he thinks he's a keyboard player. Awesome. Now I don't get the call anymore.
Now I'm going to hire a keyboard player for gigs so that I can play like one song and then have somebody really play for the rest of the show.
I have to tell somebody who keeps calling me that we're in the middle of the show, call you at 10 so that they don't fuck up the show by keep calling. So, anyway.
Anything that happens is part of the show.
You're right. I saw this thing, Sylvia Massey's a recording engineer. Anyway, I was over at Studio in the Country yesterday, and my buddy showed me the page. I opened up the page to mistakes and how happy mistakes are and how, you push for mistakes. This is in, and she's like, I always keep all my takes because the thing that you think is a mistake could turn out to be genius later on, and that's what you're looking for. Mistakes are real, right? Like when things happen and mistakes come up, that's the unplanned. So suddenly it gives there's an authenticity or whatever like that. So it kind of goes in line with your thinking about mistakes. You didn't fuck up? Well, let's go back and do it again because I want something real inside of here. I want something that's unplanned to happen.
Yeah, I don't want perfection. For one thing, if you're trying to achieve perfection in the studio, you've set yourself up for a major fucking heartache. There's no such thing.
Inspiration is what you're looking for. You're looking for something that's inspired, not...
You want some life,
Yes.
And that was the problem with Cowboy Mouth, and all the records we made. We'd have these unbelievable energy at our live shows, and then the producers would just ignore that existed.
They were trying to turn you guys into a pop band, right?
On the major, like when we were on MCA, the first major label, Hootie was really big. In fact, they helped us get signed, and so they had used John Cougar Mellencamp's producer. I can't remember the guy's name. He's a talented fella. So we didn't have the Hootie money, so we used John Cougar Mellencamp's guitar player, Mike something or other, who I don't remember. And he was not a good producer. He was there just to take the money and run. and he didn't listen for any specialness. In fact, I remember him because he accidentally chose my song Laughable to be on the record because the studio told him what songs he had to do. And one of them was, how do you tell someone you don't love them? Well, because he didn't really do his homework, he heard the bridge of Laughable, and it was, how do you tell someone goodbye, blah, 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 blah. So he thought that was the song he was supposed to choose, and that's how Laughable even made the freaking record. So he's with Fred, and he's, oh, Fred, you're glorious, and this performance is great, and I can't wait to record this song. And then it's finally my turn to do a vocal. And just before he rolls tape, he walks into the vocal booth and he goes, kind of looking forward to cutting this one. It's like an REM record where they let Mike Mills sing with his wimpy voice and his inane lyrics. And he walked out and said, go to it. And back then I just sort of panicked and thought I was a talentless fuck. I realized later I should have kicked him right in the balls and told him to go sit back in the producer chair.
Guess who just showed up?
Luis.
He did.
Luis is here.
His
just in time.
He just came in time. Before I bring him in real quick, Sean, you were saying, yes, we are at a point where we could do the music miming videos. In fact, yes, we can do that stuff. In fact, we've been doing a little bit of stuff, and I've never shared this with you guys, but last year I was doing these videos with my band. I got like 9 songs up. I should share all of them. I was going to start bringing them out on the show, but we should share some of them, let you guys go see what we're doing. Let's bring out Luis. Is this Luis? There he is.
Yes. It's Chicago Lou.
How's everybody?
We're doing okay,
Good.
my friend. You've been listening, I guess?
No, I was not.
Not this.
I had to pay the
You
bills.
you didn't hear any of the fantastic things we said about you? We spent the first half hour of the show just talking about how wonderful Luis was, and Luis.
That was only a half hour. That was only worth half hour of a show, man.
Hey, how's Lollapalooza? You're in Chicago. We need the first-hand dirt.
I have not gone to Lollapalooza, nor do I plan on going to Lollapalooza. It's, I avoided. I mean, I actually went to the north side yesterday, Polly. And
Oh, I know that must have hurt.
It hurt. It hurts so much. It hurts so much. I mean, it was so funny because I went to like a grand opening to a restaurant. A friend of mine, she works for a thing called Splash Magazine. I was her +1, and I said, "How should we dress?" She goes, not a shirt and everything. So I got to the whole Johnny Cash thing. I went Men in Black. I went, black cowboy hat, black shirt, black everything. She hadn't gotten there yet. And I go to the bar next door. I said, I'll wait for you in this bar next door. And I'm just sitting there looking all cool at the bar. And this one girl comes up to me and she goes, I love the way you're dressed. I look at her. She's in full White Sox regalia, right? So I'm in the north side. I find the only White Sox fan in the north side. And I'm like, listen, doll, I'm a Sox fan too. She's like, you're my tribe? I'm like, fucking A, I'm your tribe. So, and I guess she had to go to a Cubs game for a company outing. So she decided to wear her White Sox regalia. And I'm like, sweetie, don't do that. She's like, I said, don't be that fan, She goes, I was supporting. I said, I get it. I said, last week I went to the White Sox versus the Brewers game. I went up to Milwaukee. And you had to have this one guy dressed in the Cubs jersey. I'm like, really? Nobody wants you here. Nobody likes you. Okay, we do not like you. What are you doing here? And so people can beat you up, So it's like,
I love the rivalry, man. I was in a cab the last time I was in Chicago. I was in a cab, and the cab driver mentioned that he had the game on. He had the Cubs game on. And when I got in, he turned it off. It was the Uber driver. He turned it off. And I said, no, man, can we listen to the game? And he goes, oh, yeah, fine by me, man. It was the Cubs game. I was like, this is great. I'm on my way to the game. I'm going to catch some of it on the way there. And I go, so where you from? And he goes, South Side. And I go, South Side? And you're a Cubs fan? And he goes, yeah, didn't go down well with my family. In fact, last November, we had and this guy was like in his 40s. He goes, last November, we had Thanksgiving dinner. And my brother's a White Sox fan. And me and him got into it so bad that my mother said, neither of us could talk baseball at Thanksgiving ever again, or don't bother coming.
That's about it's a real Hatfields and McCoy kind of thing, man. I mean, it's so funny. That's the best thing about the Chicago Bears is that everybody's divided in the summer, but everybody gets together when it's the Bears. You know what I mean? It's like, all right, Sox and Cubs are done. Okay, time to talk Bulls and Bears and Hawks. So that's just the way. That's just the
I think
dynamic.
it's related to the weather, Luis, because you see in the summer it's nice and people can go out and enjoy the thing with their friends and stuff. In the winter it's cold and you want to be with as many people as possible.
Well,
Pack 'em in.
you got to remember. I mean, listen. Everybody always calls the Cubs the lovable losers and stuff. You got to remember, back in the '80s and '90s, when there was no real cable, the Cubs were on the WGN Super Network, right? So
Right.
everybody was watching the Cubs because that was the only thing on TV, right? So yeah, they were losing, but they were getting fans because they were the only thing to watch, right? So yeah, so then of course the White Sox fans are like, okay, everybody's a Cubs fan, so so the White Sox fans almost became the real underdog because there aren't as many of us as there are Cub fans, right? So, and I don't know if you realize this, right? But the Cubs traded Rizzo yesterday.
Yeah, no, all my Cubs friends were really pissed.
Yo, gosh, it was like the Obi-Wan thing when Obi-Wan says, "I felt a great disturbance in the force." It's like 1,000 voices just cried. That was all the fucking North Side yesterday. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
that was like,
it seems like they're giving up on the season when they do something like that.
yep. Yeah, they're going to try rebuilding, and I get that. Everybody always has to do that, but of course, I had to put a meme out there where it's like they lost Rizzo. What are the Pink Ladies going to do? I mean, Rizzo was.
I love that. She was the heart of the Pink Ladies.
Yeah, that's just me taking little jabs. I'm
Worst
sorry.
thing I could do, then go with a boy or two. Even though the neighborhood thinks I'm trashy and no good, I suppose
awesome.
it could be true. But there are worse things I could do.
Nice. All right, let's see. I'm a Sox fan in a house full of Cubs fans. Uh-oh, that sounds like...
no, JC's a definite Sox fan. That's the only reason we stayed friends.
Oh, really? So you're... Yeah.
No, I'm just joking about that, but yeah, he's a definite
So-
Sox fan. Now, did your son come on yet with the pictures?
It's Allison's son, my stepson.
I'm
And-
sorry.
Yeah, he took some photos.
Okay.
You wouldn't want anybody to be my blood. It would have been a horrible mistake on my part. So if Mikey
Okay.
can bring up the photos, I have the descriptions.
All right, so I don't know what order, if they're in any particular order. I think I just took them
But
down.
when I
from
see
the-
him, I'll
You'll know what
I'll
to do with it, right?
Yeah.
So goodbye, Luis, because the pictures.
No,
are
no,
right
Luis
over
is
your
gonna
face.
stay. He's gonna
No,
be
no,
our
no. I'm
cosplay
laughing
judge.
because you'll see what I'm saying. Yeah, goodbye, Luis.
That's
Right.
fine.
So this one is, Luis could probably tell us, but this is BMO from Adventure Time.
Let me put it back in. All right. All right.
Okay.
Fun one. All
Yep.
right, so let's
And who's this one?
hold on. Let me bring up the next one. I guess that's on too long. So here you go. Here's the next one.
This is
Oh, yeah.
Raven from Teen Titans.
Yeah, that's a really good one actually. That's a
Nice.
real fan favorite character. That one's really nice.
Very nice. This next
That's
one,
Gambit.
this is Gambit from X-Men.
Mm-hmm. He's one of the few Cajun characters actually.
Yes, Gambit is Cajun,
Really?
and he's a card shark too. And so yeah,
That's
everybody
awesome.
loves Gambit. Yes.
And he always has that French accent to him, and always calling everybody mon ami. And
Yeah.
all
Nice.
the chicks dig him. But
I'm
yeah,
gonna start
he's-
doing
yeah.
that. This is Oogie Boogie from Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yes, it is. That's actually a really good job. Actually, that's a really good head on that sculpt.
Nice.
Oogie Boogie, huh? All right, so let's see about this one.
This is Doodle Bob from SpongeBob.
Oh, right. Cute, very cute.
I don't have kids. I don't know that.
Let's see this one.
This is Scarlet
That's
Witch.
Yes, with the mascot. She did a good job doing the whole COVID thing. You can tell this is homemade. That was nice.
Let's see
Nice.
here.
This is
Zatanna.
Zatanna. Yep, he knew.
Who is it?
Zatanna. So she's actually, if you think about it, she's DC's Scarlet Witch, right? She does tricks and everything, but whenever she wants to do a spell, she has to say it backwards. So she has to verbally say it back, and she has to get it right because this is like anything else. If you misenunciate the word, you're going to create some other dark evil. So you gotta like make sure you're very good with the grammar.
Let's see what this one is here.
This is
Ooh,
his friends Lexi and Bella dressed as Sophie and Howl, respectively, from Howl's Moving Castle.
Okay.
Oh, those are nice costumes. I don't know
Yeah.
that, but those are nice costumes. I like those.
So this
And
is
Hera.
this is Twi'lek.
Okay,
From
she's
Star
a Twi'lek,
Wars.
but she's a Twi'lek, but her name is Hera. She's from that Star Wars cartoon show I keep on trying to make you guys watch.
Okay. Glad we had you on.
So she's real good.
And then this one is Hera Syndulla from Star Wars.
Oh, that was the one we just had. She was a Twi'lek.
Okay.
That was,
And then my
so now you got to do it. You got to
show
do the
this one
same one
again. So this one's a few people.
these
I
are
see a
characters
pig
from
man.
Demon Slayer.
Okay, Demon Slayer. Cool. So this is all in New Orleans too. That's another fun thing.
Yeah, that was Comic-Con in New Orleans. This is his buddy Cody as Gerudo Link. Link from Zelda disguised in a costume from Zelda, Breath of the Wild. Does that ring a bell,
That's a lot.
Luis?
That took a lot of effort because I wouldn't know that. That was pretty cool.
And then there's the last one. This is his friends again as a mashup group of Sailor Moon, and My Hero Academia.
Yeah. See, it's pretty. See, you know what? I like when they do mashups because it gives you more liberty, right? It gives you more liberty in terms of, I'm going to do it my way, and nobody could tell me how to do it. So you're taking elements of two different things, and like for example, I do the Marvel Luchadors, right? So I may be Wolverine, I may be Big Wolverine, but I'm Luchador Wolverine, so I don't have to keep it that accurate. So because a lot of people do get stuck on details. Right?
Well,
a lot of people get really stuck on details.
We got a question about Superman and Lois. I know you're probably not going to watch it because it's Superman married with kids. You were like, that's not Superman. But
I don't even. Why call it Superman? Why not call it Bewitched?
Well, from what I understand, it's actually well done. And the stories are good. And Sean, I have to admit, I kind of forgot about it for a second. And the problem is, I'm gonna have to buy the season or wait for it to come out on Netflix because I'm so far behind, and they only give you the last 5 episodes for free on Hulu. Like, once you fall behind 5 episodes, you kind of have to wait and start from the beginning.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I saw the
Netflix.
first episode, and it's good, but it's really a family show. I mean, really, at that point, it's really it's about his kids. At that point, I don't know if it's about.
But I
Superman.
hear though that the writing is good. I mean, it's one of the few shows that you don't see people blowing up on one side or the other about, except for that it's good and well written. So, I'm definitely going to give it a shot. And if Sean says it's good and worth our time, I mean, come on, guys.
Yeah, no,
it's
like I
gotta
said,
be
the
worth
first
that
one
time.
was good. I just haven't sat down.
Oh, I just
and
saw that
actually-
new thing that came out on Netflix. What the hell's the name of it? The one with Mark Wahlberg. About the people who live forever. It's another thing with the people. No, they don't live forever. They when they're reincarnated, they can remember all the stuff they learned in their previous lives. Is what it is.
Interesting.
Oh wow!
And so
I don't know about that one yet.
it just came out probably this past week, but it was fun. Actually, it was one of those fun movies. I love the idea that it takes 10,000 hours to the umpteenth level because these guys have picked up all of these different skills over the years that and they get to retain them.
That sounds exhausting though. But, gosh, man, I was like a farmer in my previous life. That must suck.
Yeah, but
It's
none of these guys were farmers in their previous lives. They were all soldiers.
I know,
and-
I know, but you know what I mean. Man, I can't. It's like having all this.
To me, it actually sounds less exhausting because you don't have to learn this shit if you want to know it. You already know it. Fucking A. It's like downloading it on the Matrix.
That's the thing about life, man. Learning is freaking the best part of it. That's what
There's
I
a
like
great scene
about
in the
life.
movie Bull Durham where Susan Sarandon and Kevin Costner have just made love, and she says, I think in a previous life I was Catherine the Great or Joan of Arc. What about you? And he goes, why is it that people in previous lives are always somebody famous? Why aren't they ever like Joe Schmo from a previous life?
Right.
I like at the White Sox Brewers game. All I kept yelling out were, "Baseballs are fascist." Nobody got the line. I tell you, he was saying, fastballs are fascist. And everybody's like, Luis, what's wrong with you? Nobody likes that. I'm like, if you don't know the movie, you're not a baseball fan. That's all I got to say.
I agree. That's one of the better baseball movies ever made.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, good.
I saw The
So I saw, like,
Natural
just yell out.
a while back, which is
The Natural's great.
interesting. Yeah,
It's great. It's more of a fairy tale, but it's still a wonderful movie. I did watch John Wick 2, since I was, we talked about John Wick. And I didn't think it was possible, but there was a much higher body count than in John Wick 1.
Yep.
So in the end, I think that Luis was right. Because in John Wick 1, they killed his dog and it pissed him off, man. It pissed him off so much he killed every fucking body that had anything to do with killing his dog. But when I said that last week, Luis went, yeah, but what about his car? Sure enough, in this one, they stole his fucking car and then they kill his car. They shoot it full of holes. And I just thought, well, Luis was right. He's going to kill some motherfuckers now, man. And it was like double body count. You were right. He loved that car way more than that dog. I mean, the dog guy, he could replace the dog. He had another dog in this movie, and they knew not to fuck with the dog. Behind the scenes, they were like, don't shoot John Wick's dog, man. He'll fucking kill us all. But they thought they could get away with the car. And no, sir.
No. He fucked them up. He definitely fucked them up.
Yeah, I mean, those movies, I mean, honestly, I like those movies because it broke the image of me having Keanu Reeves as Bill and Ted. Right? I mean, I just couldn't
So
break
Matrix
that
didn't
it's
do that
Ted.
for you?
No, it didn't.
Well, you could see why. The Matrix, he was kind of like Ted in the future. Whoa.
Right.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
It was around the movie. You guys ever watch Constantine?
Oh yeah.
No.
I liked it.
Okay. What's her name? The actress, Tilda Sidwell. I think you like her. She was in.
She's great.
Yeah. She's in that movie.
Tilda Swinton.
Yeah. There you go. Yes.
From Doctor
She's in
Strange.
Constantine.
Yeah, she plays
Yeah.
a male angel. She plays Gabriel.
Yeah, she does play a male angel. Yeah,
it's
so she
fun.
did
It's
it,
fun.
yeah.
It's a fun role for her. Yeah. Yeah.
I actually saw a movie with her.
I never knew
You
the
ever seen
angels
the
had
movie?
sex organs.
Well,
But that's the
apparently
thing.
yeah.
That's the thing about it is they're trying to make them asexual in the thing.
Right.
So they're trying to say she's almost like in the movie Dogma, where Alan Rickman had no male reproductive parts.
Right.
So
Right.
the principle. Right. I mean, I saw the movie yesterday called "The Truth About." We got to talk about Kevin. She's in that movie too.
Yeah.
Man, that movie just really screwed me up a little. I'm like, I don't want to have kids after that movie.
Yeah.
She's trying to raise a kid. She has a kid that she didn't want, and the kid comes out to be a sociopath. And you like that movie, Paul. She's in it.
But aren't they all? Aren't all children sociopaths?
Yeah, it's impossible for them not to think of themselves. I mean, that's kind of what
I mean,
it
they
is.
have to learn morality, so they won't even learn real morality until they get to be almost teenagers. So really, all little kids are sociopaths.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
If you want to watch the movie, it's actually on Amazon Prime. If you have Amazon Prime.
Let's talk about Kevin, or we have to talk about Kevin or something.
Yeah, we got to talk about it. It's on Amazon Prime.
All right,
it's an indie movie, so it's not a big budget. But so now, did you hear about Scarlett Johansson suing Disney?
Yes.
What is she suing them for? I heard she was suing. I didn't know why.
All right, so here's what's going on. Normally they get their back pay for these types of events.
Right.
In fact, all the people on HBO Max got payouts, like all the big movies. They went ahead and paid out everybody to make sure that they covered. And what they did was they said, all right, we're going to assume that this thing sold $500 million, and we're going to give you payouts for that. So they paid everybody off. Disney did not pay off Scarlett Johansson, and she's supposed to have performance bumps at certain levels. So what she's saying is basically, I want a piece of the streaming money to cover my bumps, that I would normally get. I'm not saying she's 100% wrong either, and going after that money.
Well, it's a different world, and if the movie decides to release simply by streaming after she had her agreement in place, I think she's totally got a valid point. Because they're not paying for streaming.
No.
And they're, so.
And Disney could have settled. Disney could have gave her just a performance bump, and it would have been fine. Now, the one thing that this causes ramifications for is possibly. So here's what's going on. We already know it because we went through it as musicians. Streaming doesn't pay, and it doesn't pay
Right.
for movies either. There's not enough money there, or they don't want to share enough of it, whatever. So they're going through the same thing we went through 10 years ago. Now with TV and movies is what's really coming down to. So they need to figure out some more fair ways to. We know they're making a lot of money. There's got to be fairer ways to share the pie.
And you know,
for creatives.
if you're gonna short somebody money, don't short Scarlett Johansson's butt. It's one of the finer things about cinema these days. It's a sculpted thing of beauty that God put here for us to enjoy, and I don't think they should anger it.
So and pay the girl. Come on. I mean,
Pay the girl.
The hell?
You know, if it was a guy, they'd fucking pay him.
You don't know that, but it's possible.
Yeah, it's true, man. And dude, and she did a lot for that role. She did a lot for Marvel too, as much as Robert Downey Jr. You know what I mean?
I say so too. She
Look,
was,
I
she
know
was
Mark,
a
it was
valid
for
Marvel character as Robert Downey Jr. for sure.
So Mark's saying it was for exclusive theater release, and that's true. But and I know COVID is COVID is an exception. It's not. Nothing's making the money it should have because of COVID. So,
None of us.
but when like HBO decided to do this, they decided to give these guys their bumps. That's why everybody was pissed, because a lot of people don't get all the money up front. They get performance bumps. And anyway, like I said, there's an argument to be made on both sides. It didn't make the money that it needed to make for her to get the bump that we know of, because they didn't report any of their second week streaming numbers or anything like that.
Wow.
So we don't know exactly if it would have hit the bump or not. But they're trying to say that streaming money doesn't count. And I think that she's trying to say, well, of course it counts. That's a ticket, and people staying at home.
If I was her, I'd say, well, if it doesn't count, send all the streaming money to me, and then it could not count for you.
All right. But I understand what you're saying, Mark, because you're right. I mean, you know, it was for an exclusive theater release. This is true. But things changed between when the contract was signed and now.
Yeah.
And, you know, we'll see what happens. It's going to be a big... Everybody's watching this to see what happens, because if they have to pay her off, that means they're going to have to... you're going to have a line of people going, well, what about... So it's going to be an interesting... And then that might cut into streaming stuff, because now suddenly they have to pay more out on streaming, period. But...
It's very interesting to watch not just people, but businesses and society as a whole just sort of try and reinvent itself after the pandemic, which isn't over yet, so you can't say after the pandemic.
Right.
While we live under the threat of a pandemic. And changes have to be made, but once again, a corporation, how surprising is it that the corporation goes, no, you don't get any of this money. We'll just keep this money.
Yeah,
But what's different from that money, from the other money, you know, it's like, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I
so
mean, it's
you
still a
guys know
ticket,
there's
even if you sit at home.
You guys know there's a Metropolis, Illinois, right?
No, I did not know that.
I have heard of this, yeah.
There's a Metropolis, Illinois, and this weekend they're doing their Superman Con. They always do a Superman Con.
Nice.
So I know that a bunch of my cosplay friends are out there representing strong the Superman. It's a very DC centric, you know. So I want to go one of these years. It just doesn't line up for me, and I totally forgot. I found about this last week when everybody already knew about months in.
So
Also,
when is
tied to that. What's that?
when's Dragon Con?
Labor Day weekend.
And you're going to that?
I am full blown. I am working on 2 costumes right now, and my gosh, I'm just hurting. I went to the flea markets this past weekend looking for stuff. You know, I mean, you got to get resourceful. You got to know what not to spend. I mean, if I knew how to sew, that would be amazing. That would just be like the earth would tear apart. You know, that would freeze. You know, all this other good shit if I knew how to sew. So we're doing a variant Loki group.
I like that.
We talked about this. Yeah.
You mentioned it last week.
I'm going to try to do Mexican stereotype Loki, and it is just so hard to do right now. I'm sort of like just looking for stuff to put together. There's actually a G.I. Joe group, right? Oh, G.I. Joe, toys. And that's like, listen, my size and everything, I cannot respect. I can't do that to a military person and be the big dude, army guy.
You could be like John Candy and Stripes. Come on, man.
Well, that would be great if we did a Stripes group, but GI Joe actually had a Russian counterpart called the October Guard that had a guy named Horror Show in it. I'm like, guess what? This is a big guy. I'm gonna be Russian, gentlemen. This is so this is sort of this test here. Normally I'm salt and pepper. I actually painted this 2 days ago. I'm not used to this. This is like
Oh, wow.
all black.
Yeah, I thought something was different about your goatee.
Yeah, I was like, this is like so because I did it for the grand opening yesterday too. I was like, I gotta look like all these little millennials and shit. I gotta like.
I
really
like it,
look
dude.
like
I think it makes you look 10 years younger.
It does.
I keep
Do you really?
telling Allison,
What's in the box?
I'm trying to convince Allison to let me get a muscle car because I told her it would make me look 50 again.
Oh my god,
Nice.
dude! Listen, Polly, ask for forgiveness, not permission. Don't you know that's what you gotta do?
Right.
Oh, and I don't.
I really
So
don't
I'm
want
gonna
a
try.
muscle.
I'm gonna try to make Jazz Fest instead of French Quarter Fest because
Yeah, I
I
am
am gonna
too.
go to. I am gonna go to the beach for my friend's wedding. Like I told you, I can't miss his 3rd wedding. It's just what kind of friend would I be?
Well,
Right,
Luis,
so-
remember, we're going to see what the numbers turn out to be from Lollapalooza, and then we're going to see how many other festivals get cold feet after these numbers.
Well, you know what? I mean, it is crazy. I mean, honestly, when I had to go through the north side, I did my best to avoid the Lollapalooza traffic along with rush hour traffic. It is crazy out there, but
Yeah.
people are going.
Yeah.
Like me, I'm going to as many places as I can right now before we get shut down again.
Yeah, I think Louisiana's in worse shape than y'all, so I think I'm already back in my cave.
Oh, guys,
Are
I don't
you
know if I
really?
mentioned this. Remember we were talking about the Red Rockers show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not at Jazz Fest, but they have
No.
booked a night show
At
during
Jimmy's.
Jazz Fest. It's at Jimmy's? Excellent.
Yeah. Yeah,
Excellent.
Jimmy
What
told
day-
me. I had dinner with him
What
last
day,
week.
what day is that? Do you know? Is
Oh,
it-
wait, hold on. Jimmy told you what? I'm sorry.
He just told me about it, and I was saying, is it at the fairgrounds? And he goes, no, it's at Jimmy's. And I was like, oh, that's perfect. You know,
Yes.
that's the last place I saw the Red Rockers when they were on MTV and all that stuff. I cannot wait to see Griff sing those songs again.
I know. We don't know what the date is yet, do we? Did they book a weekend night, or are they going to do during the week?
I don't
You
know.
Yeah,
But I
don't
know
either.
that Griff is finally going to get a chance to be what he was born to be, which is a front man in a rock band.
Yeah, it's going to be fun, guys. It's going to be a good
So
time.
I mean, so hopefully it's that same weekend that you're playing, Paul. Because I was gonna try to book my thing around the weekend you're playing. So
I'll ask
mean-
Griff and find out when it is.
yeah, I love you, Polly, but I think Red Rockers may have to if it's like the weekend before, I might have to adjust.
Damn, bruh. You didn't have to tell me and shit in front of all these people.
All right, all out in front of. Oh my God.
I'll tell
You know,
I'll 10 people.
I know we're
watching,
friends and
I'm
all,
sorry.
and I love you, but fuck if I'm going to be at your show. I'm going to fucking your
Shmoo.
show. That's way cooler.
Shmoo, what
That's
the
a
hell are
good
you
friend.
talking about?
That's a good friend that'll punch you right in the nuts on national television.
Yeah, national television, national.
It is
Yeah,
national. We
It
have
is
people
national.
watching all over the
Fuck,
country.
it's world
They'll
wide.
say,
It's
It's
global.
they'll
worldwide.
say big numbers.
It's global.
Yeah. We're gonna have to
Slow.
start pushing this in Germany. If they like David Hasselhoff, they'll like you guys. I mean, come on, this is just the way it works. But also, so you also got next week. You have the new Suicide Squad movie premiering.
Yes! I'm so excited about that movie. It's the first good.
This one
James
looks
Gunn
really
is so
good,
brilliant.
Polly. As far as DC comics go, Polly, this one's really good.
Oh, it's about your muscle car. Oh, that's what she
No,
was asking about.
No, Freddie, no, I can't do a muscle car. It's literally a joke between me and my wife because she hates Mustangs. So every once in a while we'll see a cool Mustang and I'll say, oh, I'd look 50 in that again. Ha ha ha. But I would never actually own a muscle car because that would require me paying way too much attention to driving.
You see, so that's what Shmoo was talking about. She wanted to know what. So it's a Mustang. That's your car, huh? That's the one that you.
The Mustang is the car that aggravates her the most, so that's the one
Yes.
I'll bring up.
So there you go.
She
Paul's
knows that. She knows I drive a Mustang, right? She knows I drive a Mustang.
She has never met the pony, and I'm sure when she meets the pony, she will understand.
Okay. Oh man, I was about to say, yeah, I can't. Wow, I'm not gonna be able to look at.
I know.
your life
I
in the-
mean, I held it from you for a long time. I wanted you to get to like. Before
You
you
see
found
what
out about her.
Shmoo's saying? This is important stuff here. Chevelle, Challenger, what? Mustangs aren't muscle cars, are they?
Mustangs are muscle cars. You know,
And Luis will know.
like in that movie, Ford versus Ferrari, right?
Yeah.
The line where, what's his name? Christian Bale says, "Oh, it's a secretary's car." That's right. They did start off as secretary cars. They were not meant to be. Then Ford went to Shelby and said, "Put some balls on these things," and that's what Shelby did. You know, and Shelby made the Mustang into a muscle car.
Yeah, you're
that's
right.
how the story
You're right. And that's basically the Ferrari versus Mustang story, which is fun. You know, Shelby.
It was a great movie. I mean, it wasn't as accurate as some things, but it was, it was definitely a good movie for what it was. But that was an actual term that Carl Shelby said. Mustang, that's the secretary's car. What do you want me to do with that?
Right.
You know? And it was so funny was Hertz Rental would let you rent out Mustangs, right? They'll let you rent out the muscle cars. So what would happen is people would rent them over the weekend, take them to racetracks, and then send them back to Hertz. And Hertz would wonder, like, why are there drills for all these, like, roll cages? You know,
Oh my God.
They would make them into racing cars. Once they were done, they'd take everything out of them. And people are like, why are these cars so beat up? No, because people were actually racing them over the weekend. But yeah, so going back to your Suicide Squad, it looks very good. I don't know if you've seen the previews at all, Paul. So it's pretty much it's the guy who
It's James Gunn's craziness, is what it is. James Gunn is crazy.
The guy who did Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because so at one point what happened was Marvel did the smart idea and kicked him out of Marvel for a tweet he sent 12 years ago.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. Conservatives went and found it. Like there was a time when he was trying to be edgy. It was during the time when that was kind of a thing. So he's trying to get noticed. He's a young director, and so he would put out these edgy things, daily. Right. And
so
they were
Marvel
jokes.
Kicked them out. Yeah.
They were in bad taste, but he admitted later, I wasn't a comedian, that's why I stopped doing it. But there's a handful, a dozen tweets that they found, and Disney succumbed to pressure to cancel him and get rid of him.
So DC said, let's bring him over, let him do what he wants. They gave him free reign to do whatever. So then he said, well, I'm going to take a look into the Suicide Squad. And then once he started doing that, Disney said, "Oh crap, they took our talent." So that's
not only that, this is going to be the best-selling DC movie, I think, of all of them. It's got great reviews from critics and people alike. Are just like, this thing is insane. And James Gunn, he's just a good director, and it's characters that like nobody's. Polka Dot Man is one of the characters who can throw explosive polka dots at you and stuff. So he picked the craziest shit that he could.
See, that's the thing. He picked characters that nobody likes because he's going to kill them off, right? But
who knows if he's going to kill them off or whatever. I hear there's a lot of good.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, he's going to. That's the thing. No character. Do not. The thing about James Gunn, they said, do not get attached to any character.
Because he's just going to kill him off at will.
That's why he has a whole group. I mean, listen, when you have a team of 20, he can kill 30% of them, and it'll be a great movie. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna have fun. He's gonna have a lot of fun with this, and that's what makes this movie great. So Marvel got him back to do Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and that's gonna be his last thing for Marvel.
Maybe.
Right. So
maybe.
Yeah, and then
Kevin Feige wants to keep him around. Kevin Feige would like to keep him if he can.
But then he also has creative freedom in DC, because trust me, if this movie comes out as good as everybody hopes, they're going to try securing him with a whole lot of money, saying do more stuff for us.
Could you imagine him in charge of the whole universe? That could be an interesting, fun DC universe. I mean, he might be the guy that puts DC back on track.
Somebody needs to.
Yeah, he could. Did you guys ever see that? Well, see, here's my problem. Did you guys see the movie Brightburn?
I never. You know what's funny is I couldn't. I mean, look, I'm a big fan of Gunn, every time I started watching, I fell asleep 10 minutes in. So I just haven't really been able to kind of get.
So you got to be careful with that. So Brightburn Polly is, what if Superman grew up, same thing as a kid, but what would you say, Mike? Not crazy, but misguided?
Yeah, like maybe he didn't have such good parents and sort of took advantage of his power set and the whole nine. Like, what if he wasn't as good a guy?
Interesting premise. But why not just have what the comic books would have done? A different rocket was launched from Krypton that we didn't know about.
Well, no, this isn't a Superman character. He's not Superman. It's called Brightburn. Okay. It's a different
I'm so
character.
tired of Superman's history getting fucked with.
Right. It is a what if. It is a what if.
But it's not Superman directly.
I want Superman. Give me a different character for what if. They're rewriting history on me, Luis, and I can't take it.
Did you see Chronicle, by the way?
Chronicle.
We also got Marvel's going to come out with the what if cartoons. And Polly, I know they're cartoons, but you're going to have to give them a try.
I tried to watch Invincible the other day, Luis, because I love you, and you wanted me to watch
the Marvel ones.
Because that was hard.
I know.
I think I laughed at 5 minutes.
New ones. The new Marvel ones. They're new ones coming out. They haven't come out yet.
Okay.
They'll be on Disney Plus.
I'll look for it.
Shmoo's still talking about muscle cars here. She's talking about weights. Who is she? Like, what was the name of that girl from My Cousin Vinny?
My Cousin Vinny. Marissa Tomei.
Yeah, so she's Marissa Tomei over here telling us what
she and Freddie Blue are having a car conversation that has nothing to do with the three of us.
Her father was a mechanic. Her uncle was a mechanic.
Right.
Everybody was a mechanic.
Yeah.
She did a great job in that movie, though. She was.
Oh yeah, she
early on. Yeah.
We have gone an hour and 45 minutes. Yep. So it's time.
Hour and 15, not 45. Hour and 15.
Hour and 15. Right. I have no sense of time.
So, Polly, this Sunday is my mom's year anniversary of her passing. So,
God bless, brother.
I was telling Michael before the show that I'm going to be at the Ren Fair. I just can't be at home, so I'm going to be at the Renaissance Fair. So I'm going to be taking pictures of people dressed up for that. It's like a weird Comic-Con, to be honest with you. I mean, if you think people at Comic-Cons dress up, people at the Ren Fair spend so much more money, so much more time. I
went to a Renaissance Fair in North Carolina. A friend of mine got married at a Renaissance Fair. And I went, and it was pretty cool. I enjoyed the costumes. I was a little disappointed in the jousting because they didn't knock each other off their horses.
Oh yeah, no, these guys don't do that either. But
yeah, I mean,
Paul wanted blood.
They ought to be skillful enough to unseat them without hurting them. I mean, a little banged up.
What you gonna do?
With all that armor, it would be hard to get back on that horse or off that horse. Because that's legit armor that they're wearing.
They did it in the 1500s, Luis.
So I think we all got stuff to do today. I think it's probably time that we move. But
yeah,
hey, guys,
all right, yeah, okay. Hang up. Sorry.
Monday we're going to talk about the Patreon stuff and whatever, and we'll try to get some of that stuff figured out. And who knows? Maybe we'll get. Imagine if we had Patreon going, and then we could get guests and go, hey, John Boutte, you want to come on our show in the morning, and we'll give you a couple of dollars and to show up and whatever, $10. We'll buy you a cup of coffee. We'll buy you coffee. We'll give you a Starbucks gift card.
Let's not start mentioning money now, because then we'll have people lined up with hands out.
Yeah, you're right. And plus, who are we kidding? How much money can we make from this?
We got 25 listeners. Once they've given us $1 each, we're going out to lunch, and
that's about it. We'll eat lunch.
At some place not too expensive.
Yes, but no McDonald's, please. Can't do
a couple
that.
of po' boys,
That's right.
For po' boys.
All right, guys. Well, I guess we'll see everybody on Monday.
All right.
Yes, indeed.
Have a nice weekend.
You guys have a good weekend. I guess I have to play some music. Hey, get another copyright claim against us. Did you ever deal with that? These idiots trying to...
Yeah, I wrote to them, and they say it doesn't affect anything. So I'm not going to worry about it affecting anything. I do want to end my relationship with them, but I think it's going to be a little more complicated than I originally thought.
Yeah, probably.
I have to go through it album by album and delete myself from them. I can't just delete my whole page.
Well, you know what though?
But I'm
We're
going to
gonna-
do it.
You know what we can also do on Patreon is we can actually, well, we'll deal with it one thing at a time. One thing at a time. But we'll get back to
And
it.
today's one thing is goodbye.
Yep, we're going to do the goodbye thing. So, bye, people. Love you. Y'all have a nice weekend. And let's hope that Lollapalooza only gets 10 vaccinations total all weekend. 10 vaccinations. That's my limit. No more than 10. I mean, not vaccinations. I mean, 10 COVID cases. 10 COVID cases all of Lollapalooza.
You don't have dreams, you have nightmares, Mikey.
No, just 10. That's it. Out of the 300,000 people that go this weekend, 10 people will want it with COVID. That's my prediction.
That prediction is based completely in fantasy and not fact, but I'm going to go with it.
Yeah, no, it's a complete fantasy. This is wish fulfillment. We're doing wish fulfillment.
Yeah.
You guys have a nice weekend.
Bye, everybody.
Well, I used to keep my money in a cookie jar. It was shaped like a cat, it was a present from my brother. I read a lot of books, but I couldn't see between the lines. I'll have another cup of coffee if you don't mind. Well, her hair is as black as an alleyway, and it used to be red, and it used to be blonde. Truth is, her hair changes color all the time. I'll have another cup of coffee if you don't mind. I'll have another cup of coffee if you don't mind. Well, I'm staring at her shoulder, but it's not what I see when I hear two fellas fighting in the booth across from me. So I wipe away the ashes from an empty counter seat, and I wished I wasn't homesick, I wish I was asleep. Well, I hold her like a blanket up against my chin, and I need her like I need another pack of chewing gum. Well, we used to be like that, but now we're like this all the time. I'll have another cup of coffee if you don't mind. I'll have another cup of coffee if you don't mind. I'll have another cup of coffee if you don't mind.